Honestly, I would have fired all of you on the spot. No severance, no notice. Good morning, everyone. Glad y'all could make it. Dr. Haruspex, my first time meeting with you. This is, let's see, the former Starter Champ Virtual Support Group. I know we'd all like to meet in person, but COVID and all. So, it says here the four of you were the original Starter Champs for Raid Shadow Legends during the Alpha launch, back when the game was called Give Me Your Money Now. Looks like they changed a couple of things at that time. They changed the name, good choice. They raised the dungeon levels from max level 5 to 15, and they replaced the four of you with new starter champs. So I guess that's why we're here. So, how did that make you guys feel? ALO, could you start us off? It felt bad, Like, one day you're sitting on top of the castle, and the next you're locked up in a dungeon somewhere, rotting away like a forgotten chicken. Okay, so that's how you feel. How about you, Jen? How do you feel? I'm Batman. Okay. Krusty, what do you know about what happened? No, they just be like, we decided to go a different direction. We could, try to figure this out together and maybe get you some closure. That be helpful? Jeff, maybe you could start us off. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself, like what your role in the game was, your moves, etc.? Yeah, I'm Jeff. Hi, no last name. I'm an orc attack champ, magic affinity. I have two moves. My A1 is Destroyer of Worlds. It was the strongest AoE attack in the game at the time. My A2 is Salsa. Um, like dancing, like dancing the salsa. Okay, you would dance. Yeah, well, sort of. Nobody ever hit the A2. They just spammed the A1 over and over and over again. I mean, you are an attack champ. That's kind of your job. If you were, say, an ice cream man and you only sold hot dogs, would that be appropriate? But I'm not a violent guy. I just want to live my best life. I just I just like to dance. It's not fair asking me to do things I don't like doing. From then on, if they hit the A2, I would just dance like a beautiful unicorn across a meadow. But when they hit the A1, I would just cry instead. Okay, so maybe your values and the job you were tasked to do didn't align. Perhaps that's the reason you weren't invited to continue. Maybe your face is the reason you weren't allowed to continue this conversation. Okay, guys, emotions are normal. It's okay to let them out, but let's try to be more constructive in the way that we choose to express them, okay? Alo, how about you? Can you tell us a little about yourself? I really don't have a clue why they chose to cut me. I was perfect. I was also a magic attack champ from High Elves, though we were called the pointy ear guys from Lord of the Rings at the time. My A1 was Face Puncher. I'd punch people's faces, but my best move was my A2, Herpes Storm. Herpes Storm. Herpes Storm. I would send loads of herpes flying at your face, one after another. Herpes, herpes, herpes. Nobody saw so much herpes. Herpes everywhere. Everyone's swimming in herpes. Really, though? Herpes? Yes, of course. What in Talaria could be scarier than a hurricane of herpes slamming into you? I agree, but it seems kind of vulgar. Vulgar? How would you like it if I called you vulgar? I think herpes are beautiful, magical. I was so excited, screaming, "Herpes storm!" at the top of my lungs as I shot out herpes at my fearful foes. So, you thought this was okay? Like shooting STDs at people? None of that seems wrong to you? What STD? Have you lost your mind? Herpes. Like the sexually transmitted disease. Not herpes, you idiot! Herpes! Like the women with wings and the talons on their feet. What are you, Dr. Moron? Oh, harpies. That's what I said. Herpes. Okay, so I think this makes sense. It's because of your accent. When you say harpies, it sounds like herpes. I think a lot of people, especially parents, would have boycotted the game over this. Just putting that out there. Oh, yeah, if you say so. Jen, are you ready to talk yet? I'm Batman. Like, really, you're not, right? I'm Batman. Jen, you're not a man, so there's that. It's right there in the name, and I mean, you're not actually dressed like Batman. Maybe Nightwing with that mask, but definitely not Batman. I'm Nightwing. Moving on. Krusty, what can you tell me about your experience? For the life of me, I can't figure it out. I was super OP. I could solo Ice Golem in like 4 minutes. I was an attack-based magic champ. Yada, yada, yada. My A1 was a triple hit with continuous heal, but my A2 was powerful. I would summon an army of crabs from the sea and send them your way. I called it Krusty Gives You Crabs. The tiny red crabs would pinch my foes repeatedly for 2 turns, and I would yell, "Now ye have crab!" Well, I hope this was productive. Honestly, I would have fired all of you on the spot. No severance, no notice. You were literally the worst choice any game designer could have possibly coded, like, in the history of gaming. I hope he was fired without pay and without warning. People will now refer to the 4 of you as the 4 ETs of mobile game characters. You are all literally insane and deserve everything that's happened to you.
It's just you, me, and the odds. We stuck together, we 2 peas in a pod. You dealt a bad hand, I'm there seizing the cards. We'll never be separated till we see in the God.